Vintage cars hold a special place in the hearts of the owners who drive them. I don't know whether it's the quality of the stitching, or it's in the rhythm of the engine, or it's the bespoke bodywork, but something about these retro runabouts make us feel alive. And they hold a special piece of engineering, artistic history in every model. And that's why Cars24 have been very lucky for this review to source the 2017 Mitsubishi Outlander Exceed 4-wheel drive.
That isn't a vintage car.
Well, no, that's why I introduced it as the Mitsubishi Outlander Exceed 4-wheel drive.
I don't get it.
The viewers will find it funny, okay? They'll enjoy it. Can we just do the intro? Okay,
Yeah.
let's just do the intro.
All right, okay.
I'm the guy who could have sworn he saw that stop sign, red light, and train crossing, Hugh Murray, and welcome to the review. This bucket of magnificence will cost you $23,990, and it's done 8 years on the universal clock and 105,000 kilometers on the odometer. But I'm not an idiot. Over 100,000 kilometers, the buyers start to drift off. We're getting to the extreme of buying pre-loved cars. However, I will say this example right here is an excellent reason to refute that entire notion. Cars24 are trying to persuade you a little, so they've actually reduced the price. They're not idiots, they know it's done 105,000 kilometers. However, this is still a pre-loved gem. It's been taken care of really well by the previous owner. It's got an excellent build quality, and frankly, it's in great condition. Not only is this model free from imperfections, it's also been updated from the previous model quite a bit. Mitsubishi has given it chrome and onyx across the front, the sides, and the rear as well, giving it this quite high-end look, frankly, for the price. With the chrome and the onyx, you also get some really nice 18-inch alloys. They come with thick, chunky tires, which give you a pretty good ride, and EcoVision, so they're meant to help with fuel economy, but if you drive like me, they're not gonna help. A lot of SUVs from this era, and even today, they kind of go for a real voluptuous, contoured lines, rounded body. And Mitsubishi, when they were designing this, I just felt like they thought, nah, waste not, want not. It's an incredibly boxy design, and you would think with this brutalist style that you wouldn't get many features, but you do. You get blind spot monitoring, LED headlights front and back that are automatic. You also get automatic headlight washers, which is an interesting take, but I'll take it nonetheless. You get an automatic boot, and you also get rain sensing wipers. When looking at this, driving this, seeing other Outlanders around, I really got a sense that Mitsubishi stuck to a very set phrase, which is more space, more practicality. And you get that sense for the interior as well. There is an enormous amount of space in the cabin, in the front, in the center, maybe not in the back for the 6-foot adults, but frankly, 7 seats is a decent amount considering it's a car that doesn't feel like a bus when you drive it. Now, I actually nearly bought a Triton for the same reason you'll buy an Outlander. It's an incredibly rugged, well-made, and very carefree interior. I'm not too worried about keeping it clean. I'm not going to be worried about the kids, putting mess everywhere in the back. It's meant to be a relaxing drive. It's meant to be a vehicle, and it puts the utility in SUV. You get an enormous amount of cabin storage in here as well. And I will say, smell in here, it doesn't smell like wet dog, it smells like fresh linen. I don't know how they've done it, but I think kudos to the previous owner. Now, I mentioned storage, but it doesn't have it all, I will say. You get 2 cup holders in the front, and then you get a center console with a decent amount of space and a little tray here that's got the USB connectivity. But frankly, I am actually missing a little bit in the cabin here. Having said that, when I was in the back, I did notice that the side compartments store a lot for the actual passengers. And there's still side compartments on the side and the glove box, so you could probably get away with it in the long run. And I think the way Mitsubishi designed the leather, they wanted it to look worn from the get-go. I remember the Outlander in 2017. And as a result, even though it's done 105,000 kilometers, the leather doesn't appear to be very worn. It actually seems really clean, especially in the back. I feel like they bought this car to have kids, but I don't know, maybe something went wrong. The driver's seat, it's electrified, and both front seats are heated. The center seats can actually be adjusted for legroom, and it's actually quite comfortable. You've got a decent amount of cabin space and a decent amount of headroom for 6-foot and lanky teenagers. And what I really like is you can actually let people in from the side into the rear even if you're a passenger, which I quite like. Sitting in the rear kind of reminds me of the 7-seater of my dad's old Territory. You know, throwing pieces of gum into my sister's hair without her knowing. It's nice, it's a good memory trip. You've also got a sunroof, so you can do what I like to do, which is pretend to be a woo girl gone wrong. Just like on a lot of 7-seater SUVs, you can't remove the rear seats very easily, but you can if you have a wrench. That is the Mitsubishi way. I also want to talk about the space. Now, with the seats up, you get 128 litres. With the seats all the way down, super easy by the way, you get 477 litres. And with the centre seats all the way down, which folds flat by the way, you get 1608 litres. It's a decent amount of space. I couldn't imagine what I could fit in here with all the seats down. Perhaps a cow, 3 pigs, 54 chickens. I don't know your business. I also want to mention as well, most SUVs, they will just have it flat. You're kind of missing a lot of storage because they've put a space saver in here. But this is what I like about the Outlander. They've put the space saver under the car, okay? Because you're not going to need it very often. And as a result, you get like about 6 inches of depth in the rear boot. And 6 inches, I mean, that's well above average.
1 hour later.
It's actually a full-size tire under here. We're doing a PSA for basically every Outlander driver now because I said you can fold the seats down flat and that's what they told me, but I couldn't really figure out how. So, super easy actually. You just literally lift it up here, flip it over, press that, hold that, flat. I think that's a pretty cool system. Yeah, good luck. On top of the autonomous safety features, we'll get into that in the safety section of this review, you do get a decent amount of tech for this car, which makes sense because this is the top of the line Exceed version from 2017. We have digital dual zone climate control, adaptive cruise control, heated front seats, Bluetooth and phone app projection, keyless entry and engine start, and an electric tailgate. Now you can actually operate that from the driver's seat. You can also operate it with your keys as well as the rear button. But what I love most about it, Mitsubishi's given you the option to turn it off. Now that sounds a bit weird, but frankly, I actually find electric tailgates really frustrating. So to be able to manually close it and open it and having that option is a really nice feature. So this Outlander's got a 7-inch touchscreen. It's fairly responsive, but the graphics are a little bit dated. I mean, it still has a function for iPod. But you do get digital radio, FM, AM, you get Bluetooth, and I can tell you exactly our longitude and latitude according to GPS, but it doesn't have inbuilt sat-nav. You'll have to access that, luckily, through Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which I think is actually better. I don't know why car brands are still offering sat-nav. It never works as well as Google or Apple Maps. There are an array of chunky buttons you can control in the driver's position. You've got the lane departure warning, the parking assist, the tailgate. On the steering wheel itself, you can control the cruise control, as well as the phone and infotainment system quite easily. I was a little bit worried, with this 7-inch touchscreen being a little bit older, but it's very easy to use. As soon as I got in this, I felt like I understood how everything worked, and I felt like I understood what every button did really quickly and really easily. You also get this really cool function on the steering wheel, which I thought was a coffee button for some reason. I was very confused, but it controls the 360 camera system. It's also got a really cool feature which it activates just the side cameras, so you can park it on the side of a road or a curb without worrying about scraping the wheels. All right, engine. We're looking at a 2.4 litre, 4-cylinder inline petrol engine. It's producing 220 Newton meters of torque and 124 kilowatts of power. Now, in terms of this mileage, you're looking at 7.5 litres per 100K, which is fairly reasonable for an SUV that has 7 seats. And you're gonna get a range of about 800 kilometers. Now, in terms of the engine capacity, I would really suggest that if you have a family and you need a car for the burbs, it's also a weekend warrior, I'd really suggest this engine. It's great. It's powering the 4-wheel drive system quite well. But I would suggest if you've got long road trips, you have daily drives that are more than, 30 kilometers, I would suggest the diesel variant. But luckily Cars24 is actually selling both engines, both variants, multiple Outlanders available, so you'll be able to pick and choose if you come to us. The drive system allows you to choose from normal to eco, there's drive sport as well. It's got low range with diff lock feature, but if you're lazy like I am, you can just choose auto and the 4-wheel drive will just do its thing. And that all sounds just marvelous, but let's actually see what it's like to drive in the real city, on the real road, with a family of 7. but I don't have a family of 7, so it'll just be me. The ride itself is actually reasonably comfortable. You get a fair bit of decent grunt from the CVT gearbox as well. And thanks to the petrol engine, you know, it's good for around town or getting through the city streets. But I feel thanks to that gearbox, it's going to be pretty good off-road as well. Another feature I love is the electric handbrake. I think it's really great how when you put it into drive, even if you've left it on, it'll actually turn off automatically. A lot of European cars don't do that, which I find really frustrating, but this one does. So it's a handy little feature that I quite like about the Outlander. Driving around in this car, you do get some fantastic ride height. I do feel very high up on the tarmac. I mean, some people really like that. I think that's why they buy SUVs. But I will say, I do have to have a very relaxed driving going around roundabouts or tight bends at speed. You're better off going a bit slower because there is a bit of sway in the body. It handles bumps in the road reasonably well. I mean, it's got thick, chunky tires and I feel that when I'm driving, but I will say it's probably not as comfortable as the Tucson. Having said that, it does feel sportier as a result. The steering is quite light, but it's really responsive as well. And I think that's really good for those like hard to reach parking spots, city traffic, and kind of built up areas. I will also say that I have had to get used to driving this around. Although it is light, once you get over 80, it becomes a little bit too light and you do have to kind of adjust yourself to that. But I felt that driving a lot of Mitsubishis, so I think it must be the brand. And seeing how many Mitsubishis there are around Melbourne, I'm guessing a lot of people quite like that about Mitsubishis. The cabin's airy, the leather seats are firm, but they're comfortable and supportive. And I really do like this Spartan-like interior. I feel with the 4x4 and all the modes, the diff locks, the low range you can get, I feel really comfortable going through gravel roads, down rough tracks, off terrain. I love it all, and I feel like I could do this in the Outlander. To give myself a better idea of the Outlander brand, I've driven every Mitsubishi Outlander in the Cars24 lot, and I can tell you, 20,000 kilometers, 50,000 kilometers, 105,000 kilometers, there is no discernible difference. I really feel like the owner has taken care of this really well. It's got some decent safety tech on this as well. Auto emergency braking, traction control, emergency stability control. It has lane departure warning and it's got front rear sensors, 360 camera, the works. It's even got side mirrors that are heated, so they'll remain clear no matter what the weather whatsoever. Ooh, that rhymed. You get a decent amount of four-wheel drive features as well. Not only is it all-wheel drive and you get diff lock, it's also got an automatic feature, but you also get low range. Now I will say you don't get hill descent control like a lot of newer four-wheel drives will have, but I've done some research and I know people who have that feature and they have used it exactly once, every single one of them. You would expect a car of this era to not have great cameras, but they're ridiculously clear. Not that I've had to use them because I have got excellent visibility on the front, the rear, and the sides, especially in the side mirrors, and that's because of that straight, sleek body. I've got fantastic vision and I really don't need the tech, but I mean, it's a helpful feature to have, right? You probably want it in every car you buy now. I don't know whether it's the wind in my hair or the sun in my face or the fact that I've been driving this Outlander, but I've really started to like this car the more I've started to drive it. I have to say, I've driven a lot of SUVs, and the one thing I have an issue with, even today's SUVs, they're packed with features and they're packed with technology I don't even understand how to use. And yet the Outlander seems to have stopped at the exact correct waypoint. It's really putting the utility in the SUV. It's got all the features you would need as a daily cruiser, as a commuter to work, but also being able to tackle the camping holidays, the extremely rough terrains and the backcountry roads. The engine is well made and it's been well designed. And I have to say, even though it's done 105,000 kilometers, I feel it could do many more kilometers, many more. If you like this video and you want to see more content from Cars24, please hit the subscribe button, chuck us a like, and don't forget to comment below if you agree with anything I've said. And if you disagree, Dad, please get off of YouTube.